Now, at the end of the day, let me talk a little bit about oil. Everybody thought when I was walking around that I was crazy because I said oil's going to be at $70, $80 a barrel. Of course, Goldman Sachs, which is God, they said it was going to be at 200, but I don't care. They're not God to me. So at the end of the day, it's about $70, $80 a barrel. That's a good thing because we've seen it come down a little bit, thank God. It should be at 40 bucks a barrel, but it's not going to be there. But we'll take it any way we can get it below 200 a barrel. Obviously, you've seen gold and what's happened to gold. Everybody thought it would be 2,500. It's not quite there. It's come down a bit. So you begin to see every currency, every commodity, anything and everything that's out there on any given day is up, down, all around, and moving down in the downward position. So at the end of the day, why is that happening? Well, let's talk about a couple of things. You may think our stock market is bad because I just told you it's close to basically a bear market. We are in good shape. Go to Asia and Europe. They're down 40, 30, 40% in their stock markets. And that's one of the biggest problems that we have right now is Europe. So let me talk for a minute about Europe and why are they rocking and rolling the world. Well, they're rocking and rolling the world because, first of all, they are a huge player. They're the second biggest trading partner around the world. 27 countries formed the European Common Union, and all of a sudden 17 of them went under the euro. Now, see, that was wonderful because it's clout. They could all buy together. They traveled. Nobody cared. Everybody's under the euro. Kumbaya. It's wonderful. Well, the problem is you got 17 countries, you see, and you know how difficult it is if you're married to sit down with your wife or significant other and come to a conclusion where everybody agrees. So you can imagine if you got 17 people all doing different things. Some are budgeting, some aren't good at budgeting, some have a democracy, some have a socialistic system, some have a monarchy. So at the end of the day, you got people all at different points in their life trying economically to live under one currency. So it worked fine as long as everybody's on a roll, we're all leveraging, who in the hell cares, right? So all of a sudden you got these two stronger players, which are called Germany and France, and then on the other side of the world you've got what they call the pigs. So you've got Portugal, you've got Ireland, you've got Italy, you've got Spain, and you've got Greece. Well, Greece has a problem. Greece all of a sudden has money that comes due. Now, where did they get the money? From the French and German banks, oh my gosh, and they can't pay it back. So they go into the private markets and nobody will loan them any money because they're broke. They have defaulted. When they say they're going to default, that's a joke. Greece is broke. They will never pay back their loans. It's already done. It was done 5 months ago. They have this austere budget, which is wonderful because it's like a computer. When you print it out, it looks really good until you try to put it on the table and make it work. Because at the end of the day, they've raised their income taxes. Nobody pays income tax in Greece. It's all black money. It's all money. Basically, they raise the tolls. Nobody pays the tolls when they go across the bridges. They run down the toll takers. They basically put a tax on their electricity bill, so they basically tear them up when they come and they throw them in the garbage. So at the end of the day, they can do whatever they want with the budget. It doesn't work. So at the end of the day now, here's the issue. If the French and German banks don't get their money back, they're going under. So at the end of the day, somebody has to give money to all these countries so they can give money back to the bank, so the bank can loan them money again so they can go on and on and on, and we can just put the can down the road. So here's the problem. The people in Germany and France don't want to do it. That's the problem. So Mrs. Merkel and Mr. Sarkozy have lost every election they've had in the last 18 months, trying to convince their people, look, you people, we have to bail them out, because if we don't, we're going under. They don't get it. At the end of the day, you can buy a Greek bond. Would you like one? You can buy 1 year Greek bond, and they will give you 100% interest on your money. So you know how well that's going out there in the private market. So at the end of the day, they agreed that Greece should have a loan. They gave them the loan. It wasn't enough. Oh, Ireland didn't need money. Yes, they do. Spain didn't need money. Oh, God, yes, they need money now. Portugal didn't need money. Portugal needed money. I don't know why nobody believed Italy didn't need money. I'm Italian. They got that Bruscoloni there. He's running around with a 17-year-old. They've never balanced their budget. In Italy, they don't give a rat's ass about a budget anyway. If you've been to Italy, it's a great country. It has great food. They're great people. They've never been able to add 2 and 2 is 4. It's not in the Italian DNA chain. Trust me, because I get it. So at the end of the day, that's it. So, of course, they all need money. Now, the problem is you're trying to save countries now, not just one, but they got 5 or 6 in line here, and it's been impossible. So here's where we are, and here's why the market has been rocking and rolling. They have all these meetings. They all get on their private planes, and they meet, and they say, yeah, we got to do something, and then they get up, and they say they will, and then they don't. Then they come back, and they say, well, we need to make a loan, and that's fine. Now, let me tell you what happened that really started that big correction you saw in the market. What happened was they had a run on the European Common Bank, because what's been happening to hold these countries together while they decide what they're going to do, the European Common Bank, which is like our Treasury, has been buying the bonds of Greece and France and Spain and Italy and Portugal and all of these countries. It's against their constitution to do that, but they've been doing it anyway to hold the place together. But on that Friday that the market started to go down so much, they had a run on the euro. Now the euro was at 150, it was going down even below 130, and what happened is everybody brought their euros to the European Common Bank and said, we want dollars instead. That's why our dollar has gone up over the last month. And at the end of the day, there was a run on the euros, and they didn't have enough dollars to pay, so they had to come over here. Mr. Geithner and basically Mr. Bernanke opened up our spigot, and we sent all these wonderful dollars over to Europe, and that saved the European Common Union because they came close to coming down on that Friday. So where are we now? They're still going back and forth to figure out what they're going to do. They know they have to give them more money, but they don't know how they're going to quite do it. And at the end of the day, there's only one way to do it, and they're going to come kicking and screaming to do it. They need to do what's called Eurobonds, and Eurobonds are real simple. Greece will have their bonds. They'll go out on the private market. People will buy them because here's the deal. In the bond it says if Greeks can't pay back the money, all of the countries in the European Common Union are going to start to write the check. That's the way it is. And if they don't like it, they can lump it, because at the end of the day, they're all going down otherwise. So at the end of the day, that's Europe. Now you got Japan, and you know what happened to Japan, the tsunamis, the earthquakes, those poor people. They're rebuilding their country. Here's how they impact us. It's been a supply issue, but it's getting better. For example, Apple, they sold 4 million iPads. They could have sold 6 million last quarter, but they couldn't get the parts because Japan is a manufacturing center. Now that's getting better. The car industry, they're beginning to get their supplies in line. Here's the biggest problem for us. They're the second biggest buyer of our debt with the yen, and they won't be doing that. So at the end of the day, that's an issue. Now we basically go to the BRIC countries. So who is that? Brazil, Russia, India, and China. They're moving too fast. They can't slow down their economies. Their commodity prices have gone out of the roof. Their food prices are up 100%. Their people are rioting over there too because they basically want a lot more but not want to pay a lot less. And then you have the Middle East, and I don't talk about the Middle East because I have no idea what's happening in the Middle East, neither does anybody else. We don't know who was there, we don't know where we're going, we don't know who's coming in, all we know is they're all rioting over there. I don't know how we got into Libya, I have no clue. I don't even know where Libya is on a map. At the end of the day, we're saving Libya, but we're not killing him. I don't know how you do that. We got in, I don't know how you get out. 2% of the world's oil, we don't buy any of it, the Chinese do. So we're borrowing money, $300 million a week for the no-fly zone, so we can save the oil that goes to China, so we then turn around and pay them interest on the money that we're borrowing. If you ask me why there's a rhyme or reason for that, I don't have an explanation, except that we're nuts. Okay, that's it. So at the end of the day, that's where we are. We're global, we're on a big ship, everybody's moving in a different direction. Some of us in the water without a life jacket, some are, some have a yacht, some have a boat, some have a canoe, some have a rowboat. Everybody's rowing in a different direction, and if you want to know why you're rocking and rolling out there, that's why. Now nationally, let me talk to that a minute. Actually, if you're a big business in America, you're doing fine. So if you're Boeing, if you're 3M, if you're some of the big pharmaceutical countries, if you're some of the big Intels, you're doing fine because you basically trim down, you send people home, you've got more cash than God, you basically are very productive, you're buying back your stock 20% cheaper than it was, and you're doing great. The problem is middle, small business America. They can't get a loan, they don't want a loan, consumers aren't spending, they're concerned about health care, where are taxes going to go, and that's where we're stuck, and that's the problem that we're having. Consumer, you got to talk about them, 70% of the economy. Gee, you go back 5 years, everybody had a black belt in shopping. You know that. Everybody bought it. We bought anything and everything. We didn't care. Pet rocks, we didn't care. Just as long as it was in a box, we could buy it. You know, all you women, if I went in your closet, you got 82 handbags. You know that. Everyone from hell that was ever brought out, right? I'll bet you if I go in your closet, you got 85,000 pairs of shoes, right? With the heels, without the heels, the wedgies, the twinkle, the ones that sparkle, the ones that don't sparkle. And then every one of you bought those stupid sneakers now that have convinced you that you tilt when you run, and that's going to help you lose weight. You do know that, because Kim Kardashian, she's standing there looking gorgeous in an airbrush photo, and you think you're all going to look like that. Yeah, well, I thought something was like in the mirror, and it all fell on the floor, and I realized not only was it not working for me, but I'm carrying it around now, and it's following me like a trail. At the end of the day, forget it. And you all got that. You know you did. So at the end of the day now, the consumer, oh my God, we're saving 5-6% of our money. We don't want to spend now. We're becoming value conscious. Oh my gosh, we're totally a different person now in America. So all those things matter. So that's sort of the economy. But then let me talk about California.